What's going on, everybody? David Greenspan back with you for another episode of the Mindshare podcast. And, additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems and the Buzz Conference. Now, the Buzz has two dates that you need to be aware of right now, and I want you to mark these down. The first one is coming up really quickly on June 24th. This is a philanthropic initiative with a goal to raise over $1 million over the next 5 years to support Indigenous communities. The next one is called Disruption 2022, which is taking place September 7th through 8th. And both of these events are going to be located at the Liberty Grand in Toronto, Canada. So be sure to follow The Buzz on Instagram at The Buzz Conference and give them a visit at www.thebuzzconference.com to keep up with everything that they're always up to. And of course, we are very proud to have The Buzz Conference as an ongoing sponsor of the Mindshare podcast. Of course, Kits is always with us, and how could Kits not be with us? But if you're not using Kits yet for your marketing, for your real estate business, you really need to check it out. I know I tell you week after week after week to really look into the system, but it really does take on all of the tools that you require between CRM, your keep in touch initiatives, your websites, your landing pages, action plans, automation, a mix between the active and the passive touch points that we all need to get out there and build a lot more mind share. And of course, as I tell you all the time, mind share equals market share. So think about your systems right now. Think about your processes. Think about what you're doing for marketing and ask yourself, am I doing as good of a job as I possibly can right now to stay in touch with everybody that I know? And this is exactly where Kits comes in. So look, I want to encourage you to check it out. Go over to my website, mindshare101.com. Right up at the top, click on marketing, and you can learn a lot more about it. Get in touch with my team. They will walk you through demos, whatever you need, answer all your questions, and go over pricing. Also, as you know, we are on a push to get to 100 reviews on iTunes. And so I'd like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes, go over there, rate the show, leave a review, and we make it super, super easy for you. Instead of bumbling around and through all these different platforms and figuring out what to do, go to this link. ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. And right there, you can just click on that. You'll be able to select, which platform you want to post to. And once you do that, you'll be able to leave a review and give us a big 5 stars. And of course, thank you in advance. Now, today's episode is number 181. She is an avid real estate investor, sought-after speaker, and founder of one of Canada's fastest-growing award-winning real estate teams called North Group, which was established in 2017. As a business leader with 20 years of both corporate and sales experience within the real estate industry, she is guided by a vision to empower GTA real estate entrepreneurs through a platform of superior systems, services, and marketing to create real estate experiences worth talking about for 300 plus clients annually. Named one of the 100 most influential in real estate by Inman News, she has steered North Group to numerous accolades, including most innovative real estate team, and ranks in the top 1% in Canada by the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. She's a results-driven leader with an extensive network of industry connections, partners, and investors who is a regular commentator on industry trends and has been featured in the Canadian Press, CTV, Toronto Star, Canadian SME, and Yahoo Finance, among others. This week on the show, I am joined by the founder of North Group Real Estate, Amy Youngren. Amy, welcome to the Mindshare podcast.
That was when I hear you say my bio, I'm like, wow, can he just say like that every time? It made me sound way better than I am.
You are absolutely amazing. And I remember when we bumped into each other in New Jersey with our friend Jeff over there.
Jeff Love.
Lo and behold, I was doing an event actually this weekend called the Multifamily Conference, and it was taking place over at the CAA Center. The stage was like a rock concert. It was absolutely amazing. But I happened to be bumping into somebody back there backstage who was talking to me, and one thing led to another. And I guess it was like the fact that you're going to be on the show this week, and then thinking back to what he had asked me. I went back to New Jersey for some reason. Anyways, I don't know. I'm sharing all these details with people they understand what I'm talking about. But
memory lane.
Yeah, exactly right. So every day brings a new sense of opportunity.
Absolutely.
And every day brings on new challenges. And as
Isn't
we,
that the truth?
oh, wow, right? And like,
Yeah.
as we challenge ourselves to be better, to get to our next level, adversity is part of the game.
Yeah.
Um, with all the successes you have achieved over the years, as we look back on the past couple of years, everybody went through a lot. Um, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
as you and I discussed, you went through a lot. And as I say that, I'm starting to get like the hair standing up myself, but
Hmm.
you're here today. And I just first want to say, like, congratulations. Like, you are amazing. Um, I don't know where you found the strength. I'd love to dig into that today,
Hmm.
and find that out, because that next level of strength that you've got is just it's I commend you for it. I say that to you right now.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you share with us what happened?
Yeah. Interestingly enough, actually, in December of 2020, I had this like really, I'm always doing affirmations. I'm always like working hard to think or working on thinking bigger. And I had this innate drive, if you will, to manifest and affirm a business that was in a higher price point. Um, and that was coming off of a year where I had just been like 2020 was a hustle. 2020 was a lot of work, a lot of, you know, just a lot of work for a lot of people. Um, and I didn't really know where it was coming from, because it's not something like I'm not an individual that is, you know, aspires for the luxury space or aspires for like necessarily a high price point. My favorite client is, you know, that, you know, first time, that family that's buying their first home. Like I actually just love like that niche. So it wasn't even on my radar. So I was like, where is this inkling coming from? But long story short, I found myself from December to about February of 2020, from December 2020 to February 2021, really honing in on that desire, and where it was coming from. I didn't know at the time, but it manifested itself in the months to come. In January, my dad's health started to deteriorate really, really quickly. He was a cancer survivor, and he was doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden in January, he just started to deteriorate really, really quickly. Um, I I I committed that I was going to spend. My dad lives about an hour away. I committed that I was going to spend every Friday with him, for as long as I could. It just was like this desire to need to be close to him, because I didn't know what the future was going to hold. Fast forward 6 weeks, and my baby sister was diagnosed with, or was diagnosed with a cancer. I feel like I'm going to say diagnosis again, that nobody could have ever dreamt of. It was unbearable and unbelievable at 34 years old that somebody could be as sick as they diagnosed her in such a short period of time. 3 weeks later, we buried my dad together, my two sisters and I. And 4 months after that, we buried my sister. It, I sometimes, even within the sound of my own voice, like I can't even wrap my head around 2021, if I'm honest. It was a tough year. Yet in that year, I sold the most amount of real estate that I have in my entire career. And I sold the highest price point properties that I ever have in my entire career. What you focus on expands. What you think about, you attract. And I attracted a less volume of deals, but higher price points, because I knew, or the universe, God, knew where my time was going to need to be focused. And I spent an exponential amount of time with my family in 2021, at my sister's bedside with her children, being there with her. And yet I was still able to achieve my financial goals, but I was able to do it with less output of time on task, which was so not on my radar, because that's exactly like I was saying, like my favorite type of clientele is, that family that's buying, that upsize home from a condo or a townhouse, and they're buying their first detached home. And of course, in Toronto, like, that is a great price point. We know that. And so that was what I loved. And that's who the majority of my clients have always been. But I didn't, God, the universe, the manifestation of what this inkling was inside of me of what my 2021 was going to unfold, is that I ended up with like the 2, 3, 5, and $6 million clients in 2021. And I was able to, when we were spending all the time figuring out what was going to happen with my sister, I was able to look at my finances and know we're going to be okay. Like, we can get her the best help. We're going to have the money to do this. So that's just a piece of it. That's only a small piece of it. And it's been challenging. It really has. But we're doing the best we can. We're trying to, the thing that keeps you moving forward is those 3 little girls that are left behind now, right?
It's
So
just knowing you, it's evident that you're an amazing, amazing aunt, and you can tell the love that you have for them and what you're doing for them. I mean, it's clear. But I mean, through all of that hardship, how do you find the strength to keep pushing through no matter what? Like that, I can't even fathom it. Like you know me, I'm rarely at a loss of words. I'm like trying to pull at that right now. It's I don't know. How do you do that? Because I mean, look, we got people out here that go through stuff in life that is,
yeah,
we make ourselves believe that it matters, right? We make ourselves believe that this is like a big deal on some things when we look at the bigger picture of life, and like oftentimes we can look back at stuff and say like, no, like it's not as big of a deal as like we made it out to be.
yeah.
This is not that. And to push through and get to the other side of that, or forgive me, I don't know that we ever get to the other side of that. Maybe you correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But more just to continue to push through no matter what, through the hardships. How do you do that on a daily? Because you're doing it, you're living it, like we can see it, right?
I th-
But how?
I think that, sorry, I choked up earlier too.
No, no,
Sorry.
please.
I
Are
think
you
that
kidding? You got like yeah.
I think it's fresh right now because my sister's oldest daughter, like my niece, she's struggling, and she actually is in McMaster right now because she just tried to take her life 5 days ago. So, like, whoever's listening to the sound of my voice, like, I get it. Like, life is tough sometimes. And I think, like, I'm literally looking at a book on my shelf right now that says the obstacle is the way, like, turning difficult times, turning trials into triumph. And so, for me, what I went through in 2021 and what we're still facing from the repercussions of it, it was by far the most difficult thing I've ever been through. But I have been through difficult times. Like, it's not, I'm not, I haven't been immune to difficult times. And it creates this resilience, this grit inside of you, um, this ability to find somehow, some way, the good in whatever it is that you're facing. And by good, I mean the thing that's going to change you, the thing that's going to make you a better, stronger, more at peace, whatever that is, person, leader, human. Um, a lot of it, I mean, the only way out is through, right? When you're going through a difficult time, you just have to go through it. And I just am a firm believer that how you show up and who you show up as every single day says volumes about who you are. And we don't we don't become the person that we actually are in hard times. that just magnifies who we already are. And I think that that's a lot of times, you know, when we as individuals or entrepreneurs go through difficult times and we don't rise above them, we're not who we want to be through them, because that's actually not who we are already in day-to-day life. We're not, already not challenging ourselves or embracing our emotions or difficult times the way we should. And I've been in a position where something happens where it's not what you expect in life. And I can affirm the fact that being negative about it and having a lack of gratitude through it and not, you know, it doesn't help the situation. It doesn't make the situation better. It doesn't make it go away. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't change it. And so, I'm a positive person by nature, and I believe that positivity attracts positivity and negativity attracts negativity. That momentum propels. It's the law of inertia, right? So you can either like propel forward with negativity and like the compound effect of negativity. So if you start thinking negative thoughts, you're going to attract negativity, and more negative is going to happen. Even in the middle of a hard time, you can still be real. You can still embrace the difficulty of what you're going through, but don't allow yourself to spiral and don't allow yourself to go to a dark place. And you can't, and sorry, I don't know if I just was going to interrupt you, but I was going to
No.
say, you also just don't have that choice when you choose leadership. When you choose to lead incredible human beings that you have the privilege of partnering with, or the privilege of being in business with, or the privilege of working for, like our clients, like you don't have a choice. 90% of my clients have no idea what I went through last year until maybe we developed a personal relationship, or they started following me on social media, or they knew me because it was a strong referral or something like that. But many of them to this day, and I can think of the most difficult situations that I went through, they had no clue to this day what I was dealing with while I was selling their property or helping them buy their forever home. And so when you choose the entrepreneur life, you choose leadership, you have to show up. You have to show up. You don't, it's not an option. But who you show up as, that's the choice.
I often think as things in life happen, a lot of times we look and say, we have this thing of we've heard that cliche line, like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that it's one of those where you go, there's certain things in life that you'll never accept that there was any reason for that to happen.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, there's a matter of as you work through it to try to find what you can learn from it.
From it.
And I
Yeah.
mean, completely in line with you when you talk about the leadership. And I would suggest to everybody as an action step on that is, when we deal with adversity, when we deal with things, and again, it really, the magnitude of that needs to be weighted as well in terms of what
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Yeah.
That said, though, you're in the middle of it right now and your emotions are taking over and things are happening. And the big key is to try to visually get yourself emotionally, mentally, get yourself on the other side of it, even if you're still
Yeah.
in it, and go, what do I look like now that I'm on the other side of it? And I look back at it. How did I manage it there? And as you talk
Yeah.
about the leadership aspect, it's the
Mm-hmm.
clients don't know, the team is still being led, the positivity still has to ring through in some way, shape, or form. And I
Yeah.
have found, at least for myself, that look over there, if I can kind of get myself there somehow in a moment of clarity, and then be able to go, how are you dealing with this right now? Is this the look back you want when you look back at that situation? And if I'm right here and I go, no, then it takes me back into the present to say, adjust the way you're doing this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. I firmly agree with you. When COVID hit in March 2020, John Maxwell came out with like a leadership webinar series that was awesome. It was like he pivoted the fastest, and I jumped on it. It was, I don't remember a lot of the details because it was a lot of notes and it was a couple years ago. But he said one thing that has stuck with me ever since is that you never leave crisis the same. You never leave tragedy the same. You're either better through it and because of it, or you're worse. It's impossible to stay the same through it.
Makes sense.
And that really stuck with me. It stuck with me from a leadership perspective all through COVID. And we thought COVID was the worst of our family concerns, right? Here, little did we
Right.
know what was coming, right? And then it stuck. It really resonated with me and stuck with me all through 2021. Who do I want to be through this? And looking back when I've come to the other side, and are we on the other side in a way? Dealing with grief and that's a whole other conversation, definitely not for this podcast. But I listened to another podcast actually, and I share this quite often, and it was a really good analogy of overwhelm, because I think as entrepreneurs, and hopefully whether this relates to tragedy or hard times or overwhelm in our business, whatever it is that we tend to put ourselves into a place of almost like a pause, because we get overwhelmed by the fact that we are at, like, if you were to say like your life or your goals or whatever it is are steps 1 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
and we throw ourselves into overwhelm because we're on step 3 when we're trying to do the work or the activities, or have the mindset or whatever it is of step 7. And yet all we need to be focused on is just doing the right next thing to get us to step 4. And I think that, even though I'm kind of relating that to business, I
Mm-hmm.
sort of use that analogy. I kept that analogy personally all of last year too, because every single day, the second my eyes opened, which I didn't sleep a lot in 2021, so it wasn't a lot. But when I did wake every single day, the flood of the gravity of what life we were facing in life was, you had to deal with that emotion so every day. And I mean, of course you deal with it hundreds of times throughout the day when you think about it, as you're going through it. But like that first thought through your head, uh, every day you want to just throw the covers back over your head and say, what's the point? Like my heart is literally broken right now.
That's what
And
I like. I wanted to add, like, how do you compartmentalize that? Because it's that, like, it's like, okay, I'm going to fight through today. I'm going to get myself to the point where I can go to sleep, only to
yeah.
wake up, and it's like it's right
Yeah.
there.
And that's why I love this analogy about just doing the right next thing, because if not, I would have lived in a state of overwhelm all of 2021. And we often,
Right.
and we do, and remove my situation with my family and just look at our own lives, our own businesses, or whatever it is. Like, every single hour of every single day, if we just do the right next thing that's going to move us forward, eventually, step by step, hour by hour, day by day, you look back. I mean, we all know that massive results are built on the back of micro commitments. That's just doing the right next thing. It's so
I
simple. And we
That is such an
complicate it.
MO to my everyday. It's like, and I say that
We
to all of my coaches, like, it's the little tiny things
I
that you do
know.
that are gonna get you to that
Yeah.
next step.
Yeah. And we complicate it. I look back at any of the success or any of the failures that we've had as a company, and anytime we've like gotten too off course from just the basics, just the consistency of the basics, and the micro commitments of what actually build a successful and productive real estate team, that's when we failed.
Right.
And that's how I got through 2021, was mindset, which is why I love everything that you talk about and teach and coach on. It was mindset. It was, of course, there's an aspect of like natural strength and grit and resilience and all these things that we can build, like grow. I believe a lot of these characteristics are like muscles that we can practice exercising them, and that they have muscle memory, so that when you need grit or when you need that strength, it's there. um, but most of all, it was just, who do I need to show up as today? And what's the right next thing that I have to do?
I absolutely love that. It is an ongoing conversation, as I just said a second ago, that I'm having with clients all the time
Yeah.
because, especially in the business that we're in, deals don't show up just like that every
Right.
single day for people,
Nope.
right? And yet
Nope.
it's the type of business where maybe to put it like pretty abruptly, but like eat what you kill, right? Like, and if you don't, you're not eating. So people
Yeah.
stress and they build up the anxiety around what's going on. And it's, you know, taking it back to what you just said, it's those tiny little things that you do each day. And I'll tell you, for me, the biggest one here is I wake up every day, I start my day by reading a book, feeding my
Yep.
brain, right? Before I open the socials, the emails, I don't want to be connected to the rest of the world just yet. I'm not ready for the rest of the world just yet. I'm not
Yeah.
mentally ready to take that in. So I got to get my mind ready. So it's reading, it's looking at my goals. And I bookend my day by saying the last thing I do at night is I write in my gratitude journal.
Yeah.
And I write down all of the things, no matter what took place today. I write down everything I possibly can to try to figure out for myself, did we win? Like, did we succeed in any way? Did I do those tiny little things that I was supposed to do to at least get myself there? Because if I could
Hmm.
recognize somehow through it all the good, I should be better because of it. And I know mentally I'm going to be stronger. And I know you're a spiritual person, and you manifest and you write these things down, and practicing gratitude. And I mean, like, was there any moment, and I imagine there was, but was there a moment that you looked up the sky and said, like, and forgive my French, but like, what the fuck did you just do to me?
Oh yeah, for
Like, I
sure.
practice. I believe
Hmm.
I am a good person. I mean well. I
Hmm.
manifest. Like, I did not ask for this. Like, why
Hmm.
did you do this?
I think for me it was like my I had two sisters, and my dad, and they were my best friends in the entire world, and to lose two out of the three people that you love the most and would literally give your
Ay,
life
ay, ay.
for, in such a short period of time, it rocked me for sure. um, this is going to be super candid and unplugged, and I haven't said this to literally anybody other than a couple people that are close to me, is that I the struggle I had the most, and we won't get into like spirituality or any of those types of things, but the struggle that I had the most was that I out of my two sisters was the one that was never able to have children. I was married for 15 years. I was never able to get pregnant. My marriage has since dissolved, but I'm the one that doesn't have kids. And I couldn't wrap my head around why not me? Why my sister, who has three beautiful children, who's 12 years younger than me, healthy, just the most perfect person in the entire world, far better person than I could ever be. And I already did dedicate my life to those kids and to my nieces and nephews, but now I just have so much greater purpose. Like, yeah, those are the questions that I will ask until my last breath, is like, why not me? Yeah.
How did you when did you realize that, have you realized that, and I think you have, that inner strength, that inner fortitude that you have, I see it, and I know people around us see it. I want to believe you see it because you're here and you joined me today and you're talking about this stuff and you're working and you're still uber, uber, uber successful. Like, how did you realize that you had that inner strength to be able to keep pushing? Did you realize that? When did you realize that? Because I don't know that a lot of people find that for themselves. I don't know that a lot of people are strong enough to find that in themselves, but I believe people have it in them.
Yeah, I believe everybody does. I believe it's something that is within us, but we have to want it, number one, and we have to seek out how to strengthen it. How do you strengthen strength? I don't know. I just said that for the first time in my entire life. I don't even know if that's a thing. But how do you actually strengthen resilience? How do you manifest that? A lot of it is just choice. A lot of it is a lot of it is just, I'm a learner, I'm a reader, I'm constantly I want to be a better person. I there's, of course, there's things that I did last year that I wish I could do differently. not with my
Such as
sister, but
life.
just, you know, like that's just life, right? Like we're
That's life.
always on this journey to be better. But um, I think it's something that you can learn. I think it's something that you can, but it starts up here, and it starts with choices, and it starts with how you spend your time, and it starts with how you practice. Because I remember once when I was in my office, my real estate office, and this is before we started North Group, and I was an agent on my own, and my broker at the time, I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I was saying that, or he was just explaining to me mindset being a muscle, and it was just the faster that you can practice moving away from negative thoughts, moving away from the things that are going to pull you down, like comparison or victim mentality. You know, I'm one of these people that takes extreme ownership of literally everything. I'm going through some major changes in my life and my business right now, and ultimately the buck stops with me. Like I'm the problem,
Yep.
which
Well,
I'm
the problem,
working.
I'd say you're the catalyst
Sure.
to
Yeah.
why these things are being presented into your world,
Exactly.
right? Because
Exactly.
you're trying, you're
Taking
growing,
that
right?
personal
Yeah.
responsibility. Exactly. But ever since he said that one thing to me, it's really impacted me. So the faster that we practice pivoting out of any negative thought or negative energy or negative space that we find ourselves in, because we're humans, like in this business especially, market changes, deals coming together, falling apart, clients emotional, like whatever, like there are a million and one ways in a day for us to spiral. There just is. And then when you add personal life on top of it, there's 2 million. Like there's a lot of ways that could bring negativity to us. The faster that you can pivot from those thoughts, the greater the strength comes that the next time it happens, you shorten the gap. You I'm not explaining it the best, but you basically, mind is a muscle and you're constantly strengthening it. So then when your entire world gets rocked, like mine did last year, I'd been practicing it in all of the smaller things that were happening, and I was able to withstand it. But a lot of times as entrepreneurs or realtors, we don't embrace those small things that are happening to us in a daily basis, and we stay negative and we get pissed off at our clients or pissed off at the mortgage broker or the lawyer or whatever happened, and ultimately it's on us and it's on how we think. And the faster we can pivot away from that negativity and we can put ourselves into a position of taking ownership and thinking right about the situation, it will strengthen us for when the really tough times hit.
What are some of those actions? And I mean, we talked about it through, and maybe this is all it is, but reading,
Mm,
manifesting,
yeah,
gratitude.
yeah,
I know for me, that's my crutch.
yeah,
I know for me what it's done for me as a human being over the past number of years. I know where I was, I know where I've been, I know what triggers me, I know what gets to me, and you just labeled some of it. And I think that so many of us do it on a regular, and I think that this is definitely a byproduct of the issue,
yeah,
or maybe the
100%.
cause of the issue. But we are so exposed to what others are doing, and we start to play the victim to ourselves, and we
Yeah,
start to live in a mindset that is a negative mindset, a
yeah,
scarcity mindset, rather than one of abundance.
yeah.
I had a conversation with somebody recently, and they said to me, I don't know, what do I have to be grateful for? And, like, I was blown away,
Wow.
and I gotta, being me and just I'm gonna be blunt about it, right? But I'm like, "What are you talking about? Do you have a roof over your head? Yeah. Do you have water? Yeah. Do you have food? Yeah. Clothes? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you got family, you got your health? Like, what are you talking about?"
yeah.
And we take that stuff for granted,
Hmm.
that it's just like, "But that's life."
Hmm.
Well, for billions of people on this planet, it is not life. And
No, for
so
sure.
we need to internalize that, and that for me is part of the strength, Amy, that, like,
Hmm.
when I'm doing my reading and I'm feeding my brain and I'm making that muscle, the biggest, strongest muscle we have in our bodies, I'm making that
Hmm.
muscle right there
Yeah,
strong,
yeah,
right? By doing some of these practice things, I have seen my growth. And I will tell you, that's me looking in the mirror. Okay. And that's a number of years. And that is a daily focus of effort. And I'm talking
Yeah.
like making sure that once again tonight, when I am done my night, no matter what time I finish it, I write in my journal. Because if
Yeah.
I don't, it's like somebody who works out really, really well, like eats perfectly, and then they go have like McDonald's one day for like a meal, and they just feel like shit. You know what I mean? It's that same
Yeah.
thing for me. I know if I don't write, like the next morning, I'm like or if I don't schedule and I'm not on point, I'm going okay. These things are throwing me. So I know for me what it is. Outside of reading and let's say the manifestation, maybe gratitude, like are there other things that we can suggest or share with people tuned in to sort of go like, here's your action steps of if you're in that mindset or if you're dealing with something, some
Hmm.
sort of hardship, here's what to do, or here's
I
what
would,
you do. Like, is there something, you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I think, mentorship and coaching is a huge part of that too. So I stayed, connected to my coach who's a leadership and mindset business coach all last year, no matter what. Um, I put myself in that seat because I knew I needed that level of accountability to keep me. And I think sometimes we feel like coaching is a weakness or having a mentor, like that makes us weak, but it actually makes us strong. Like the best of the best in any industry, sales or sports or anything in the world, they're the ones that are coached, right? To be constantly better. So I would say that definitely because who you surround yourself matters. I mean, yeah, you have to be around the right people.
Okay, hold on. Now I got to bring that up. I got to play to that for a quick second. You've been named one of the 100 most influential people in real estate, and knowing you and the way you operate, I understand it. For those that don't know you, I really want to just bring that up right at this moment for a second because I think that this ties perfectly well into today's conversation. And you just said, I think a lot of people see it as weakness when you go for help,
Mm.
and be it finding a colleague, be it confiding in other people,
Yeah.
heck, writing in a gratitude journal sometimes for others could just be like, oh my God, I don't need to do that, right?
Hmm.
Coaching. I mean, I'm just to say it, like you're one of the best we got in this industry here, and you still have your people, your mentors, your people that
Yeah.
coach, and you just said it too. The best of the best have a coach.
Yeah.
How important is that? Like that.
when I
I mean,
when I
top
first got
100
into
most
real
influential, and you're still being coached.
two coaches or person like on the personal, like the health and wellness side
See,
and the professional side.
right?
Honestly, when I first got into sales, I had just gone through divorce. I had literally like 50 grand in the bank. No joke. 50 grand in the bank, nothing else to my name. Everything that I have acquired from a business standpoint, uh, investments, property, my company, everything, I've built myself from the ground up. And when I didn't have the money to spend, I couldn't, well, I shouldn't say that. I had the little bit of money to spend. I chose not to go on vacations and I chose not to go out for like elaborate dinners and things like that. I spent it on coaching because I knew it was going to be the thing that changed the game. And right away, I hired a coach when I couldn't really afford it. I mean, I had a little bit of money for it. I lived a little bit like a hermit for a couple of
Mhm.
years for sure.
Well, I mean, again, we say in life there's got to be some sacrifices to get to the place that you ultimately want to get
Absolutely.
to. Um,
Absolutely.
and I mean, it seems to you seem to be a model for that almost to the point of what we just said there, because not only 100 most influential, and just an amazing track record amongst our industry that you have, the most innovative real estate team as well, and
Something we're
that
super proud of for sure.
100%. And listen, I know that it takes the team. It's not just one person, and it
Yeah.
takes
Oh,
amazing people. And you've got people that are incredibly close to you that you guys have been just doing some awesome stuff. There's a lot of trust and love
yeah.
amongst you all, right? But that takes some serious leadership. That takes understanding how to work with people, lead with people, as you said earlier on. Like no matter what you're going through, you got to figure a way to pull up your socks and go and get it done,
Hmm.
right? And that's where we get to that again, that next level out there.
I
Like
think the industry puts team building on a pedestal where you get into the industry and you go to these conferences and they just automatically say, the next step is build a team. But I actually completely disagree with it.
Talk to me about that for a second. I love
Oh,
that. But I wanted to ask you about that. Like, we could get into the depth. We don't have time today, but like the devs, like, why'd you start a team? When did you know you was ready to start a team? What does it take to start?
the next podcast.
Yeah, right. But give us that thing, because I think there's a lot of people out there who they'll look at North Group and want to emulate that. And for good reason. There's obviously a ton of success going on. It ain't that easy. It doesn't just happen like
it's
that.
not. Yeah.
Right?
I said at a conference 2 weeks ago, I said, if anything that I can share today will talk you out of building a real estate team, then I will have succeeded. I will have succeeded, because our industry needs less team leaders that are not completely selfless and dedicated to the success of the people that they've partnered with or are in business with. And that is ultimately what it's about. I missed one team meeting in 2021. One.
Wow.
I put things in place to like help me get through them, and had great speakers, and had, I'm so blessed by we have the best team in the entire industry. And we are growing and hiring. So if you are listening and you want to have a conversation, let me know. I'll just put in a plug. But we are I am surrounded by the most incredible humans. But there are so many team leaders that are in this business just because they had too many leads, or just because they were told that's the next evolution of how you grow in the real estate space. And I just completely disagree with it. Team build, if you cannot wake up every single day and get more excited about the assist versus your own goal, then get out of this business as a team leader. I genuinely mean it.
Those are some powerful words right there, coming from a very successful team leader of a very successful team. But I think that people need to really internalize and understand that, right? And I know, like my friend Kathleen Black tells us all the time,
Incredible,
a team. She's
incredible human.
amazing. A team is not necessarily building out, having all these other reps working with you, whatnot. The team could be the support people you have around you.
There's so many different ways to structure it.
Right.
But if you're going to be in business with individuals who you will be responsible to inspire and to lead and to help them to build their own business, be their own CEO. We just did an entire session about that yesterday at North Group, being the CEO-preneur of your business, because that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I just totally lost my train of thought.
No. Listen, I'm with you though. And it comes back to that leadership of what you're doing. And I think that
completely.
Look, team or individual, and I think this goes out as a message to everybody tuned in, right? No matter which way you operate, you really are the CEO of your own business, right?
Absolutely.
And what
it's such a misnomer. Like it's such, I even said this yesterday to, our newest team partners that have joined us. I said, what happens that we get into sales, we get into becoming a realtor, and we think that we can work less than 40 hours a week, not more. We just left a 40 to 45 hour a week position in whatever job we were in. If you came from a corporate or a more 9-to-5 job, and then we come to real estate and we think that we're just going to work like 25, 30 hours a week and we're going to be successful. It doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. Anyways, that is a whole other
100%. It really
conversation.
Is. And I would tell you, I think like I saw that trend start a number of years back at some of the conferences where we're getting like, all these directions of like, go do this and go do that, because we were able to take advantage again of all the technology. And I really truly believe that a lot of people who'd been in the business for a while probably lost their way trying the new bright shiny thing. And then a lot of the people that came into the business now go, well, it's that simple. You just run a few ads or whatever and you should be successful. We know it is so much more than that, right? And really, to achieve long-term success in this business, there's got to be a lot of moving pieces, and mindset is absolutely massive. Now, as we look at that, and kind of you brought up market for a quick second before, and I love where we're at today in this convo. So I'm not going to go down the road too much of like the marketing and all that stuff, but from a market perspective, and just to anybody that is tuned in, that is in the biz, that is facing their own struggles right now. And Amy, that could be, again, that could be personal struggles. that could be they're walking into a market that they've never seen before. And I
100%.
really want to I also want to just say to everybody, we are in a great market. We are in a shifting market, but it is still a very healthy market.
We're in
There's
a
folks
market
that,
of opportunity.
oh, a massive opportunity. And I think
Hmm.
that there's some people that think, oh my God,
The
it's
sky's
like doom
falling.
and yeah, like it's not even
Hmm.
close.
No.
And those are the people that
We're so
mm,
lucky we're in the greater Toronto area, or like, if any, I am anyways. And if any,
yep.
like, think about the market that you're in, there's good in every market. And even in a shifting market, there's opportunity. This is the what sharpens us. If the market just stays the same all the time and we never have to sharpen our skills, sharpen our axes for to be better realtors, then what's the point? Like, this is when we actually can get better and create more opportunity.
So
And
what would
this
you
is
say
when
to
the good
anybody?
realtors really shine.
Okay, and that's what I was gonna say. So, like, I'm in the biz, and I've never really seen this kind of like. It's been
Hmm.
really good for the past few years, right? And me as David, and I think you, Amy, like we're gonna go. It's still really good, but we do have people that are looking and going again, like we said. What would be the advice to these people? And we're talking about that again, that hardship that may not be personal, it may be business, but we want to keep the positivity up. We want to keep the mindset in one that's going to be strong, a leader, and understand that again, no matter what, this is my business.
Hmm.
This is how I earn a living. This is how I feed my family.
Yeah.
I've got to do it. What would you say
Yeah.
to those folks?
Um, I think I'll go back to my original point. Who you surround yourself is going to matter, especially during a market shift, especially at a time like this. So I would be making sure that I was at a brokerage or within a team or within a coaching company, organization, within a platform where I would feel support, where I would be getting ideas, where I could collaborate, where I would be getting, script ideas and how to handle my emotions and my mindset through a market. We just did an entire 1 hour session about that on Monday as a team, where we brought in an expert who's actually been through a shift just like this
Mhm.
years before, and to help prepare us from how to set expectations, to how to handle certain conversations, to the types of statistics and conversations that should be had at the negotiating table. This is when you really, really need to sharpen your axe, and the people that you surround yourself with will make all the difference. And,
I'm
that, and,
watching.
and I'm not saying that to plug teams or anything like that. It could be what brokerage are you at? Who is your coach? Who are you aligned with? Who are you spending your time with? And because there's a lot, like, the media and a lot of people out there right now are being very doom and gloom about what's happening, and herein lies the opportunity. I firmly believe that.
Find
Mhm.
your support
Yeah.
mechanism, find your
Yeah.
support group, and that's probably the way to tie that. Because, and I don't think you gave a plug to teams. And much the same 2 minutes ago, you kind of went, "Don't start a team just so fast," right? So,
Yeah.
no,
Right.
no, great advice though, and I love it. And again, I love what you brought up there of like still coaching, right?
Yeah.
Now just watching the clock, and I love this topic, and we could go on for hours, but I want to be cautious of this. So, how do you know it's been a successful day for you at the end of the day?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think it's something I'm actually really working on, if I'm super candid right now. Um, I think a lot of it comes down to how how I feel internally at a place of calm or peace, whatever term you want to use, because that means that I focused only on what I could control that day, and I didn't let my emotions get the better of me. Because I guarantee there was shit in the day. Sorry.
Ah,
I
every
guarantee
single day.
I guarantee there was crap in the day, but if I am at the end of the day still in line with my emotions and feeling at peace, it's because I didn't let any of those circumstances run me. I ran them.
That's power right there, and that's why for me, that gratitude journal just kicks
Yeah.
ass.
I
It puts
agree.
it all into
I do
perspective.
it at the beginning of the day, but I like the idea about the end of the day.
You
I mean, it just keeps you centered, right?
you know what? 6 to 1, half dozen the other kind of thing. It's like it's the center, right? It's like that thing that just says, let's compartmentalize exactly
Yeah.
what the realities are right now, right?
Yeah.
Where can people find you? How do people get a hold of you? If anybody does want to talk more about North Group or learn from you or just tune into you or connect on
Yeah, for
social, like
sure.
where can we direct them?
My Instagram is at Amy Youngren _. My cell phone number is 416-624-8854. I have an industry platform called One Network Leaders. It's brand agnostic, where we are offering training, collaboration, masterminds, events, masterclasses. We just launched it a couple weeks ago. So they're One Network Leaders. Yeah, I'm pretty accessible. You can pretty much Google me and find the good and the bad pretty easily.
I don't know that we're gonna find much bad. You got some good stuff going on. Any last words you want to share with everybody, just as final sort of takeaways today?
Oh
This has been
man,
powerful. This has been
I
powerful.
feel like I feel like I don't know
Okay.
what else I could say at this point.
Okay.
It's just been such an honor to have this conversation, and if I
Oh my
have
God.
even remotely inspired anybody in our industry or within the sound of my voice to show up as the person that I know that you are, and as a greater leader, then I've accomplished my mission.
Well, you're certainly an inspiration to me. You have been since the day we met, and it's been an honor having you on the show today. And
Thank you
even more
so
so
much.
that you were so willing and open to want to share the hardships and the stories, and leverage that as an opportunity to empower other people to get through whatever it is that they are dealing
Yeah,
with.
they
Because when
can.
you focus in the right way, you can do it.
You can. Yeah, I
Amy,
believe
thank
it.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Wow. Absolutely, absolutely loaded. What an amazing, amazing episode. You were either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Stitcher, or Spotify. Maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. While you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. There's a 90-day social media content calendar there, all of it in place to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. If you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, as we just chatted about today, please connect with myself, connect with my team. You can DM me through the social media channels. You can message my team, info@mindshare101.com. We will set up a free explore call. We'll connect, we'll talk, we'll chat, we'll find out what you're looking to achieve, and see if we're the right fit to help you do just that. Also, please don't forget, the Push to 100 is on. We ask that you please go over to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare 101. Give us a big 5 stars. Give us a nice little review. Let us know how much you love the show. And of course, if you haven't yet, let's connect on Facebook at Mindshare 101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank my good friend Virginia Munden and the Buzz Conference for sponsoring today's episode. Be sure to visit their website, www.thebuzzconference.com. Follow them on Instagram at the Buzz Conference to keep tabs on all of the awesome events that they are always hosting, along with getting the latest copy of the Buzz Digital Magazine. Of course, do not forget about their June 24th event, which is coming up fast. Go over to the website, check that out, get registered as well. Reserve your seats for our September 7th to 8th Disruption 2022, taking place at the Liberty Grand in September. So, of course, I also want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my website, mindshare101.com, and click on marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.